And this book, which is the transcription of Columbus's own words, Columbus's Dario, indeed, the riddle of the Dario, was getting into Columbus's head and understanding what he meant when he wrote this book, because the key to finding the Santa Maria was in this book. But in dissecting this book and in understanding the Dario is what enabled us to find what we have good reason to believe is the Santa Maria. Now consider me, you know, a lawyer, and you people are the jury. When you hear the evidence of what we found, I think the evidence is overwhelming that this ship, you know, most probably is the Santa Maria. Now Columbus said, you know, at 11 o'clock on December 25th, 1492, Columbus writes in his Dario, after 2 days of being up with the local Taino Indians to the west, you know, in the Bay of Acul, they were exhausted. So at 11 o'clock that night, Columbus went to bed. And in fact, all of his crew went to bed. And he left the ship in charge to the second in command, who went to bed. And he in turn left the ship to the ship's boy, something that Columbus said in his Dario, he was strictly forbidden for the boy ever to drive the boat. But he didn't have to drive the boat. He basically, at 11 o'clock at night, according to the Dario, that they were standing off Point Piccole, or off of Punta Santa. And I knew after diving in all of this area, there's no way you can stand still because the current moves you. So if you think you're safe on a beautiful night when the water is supposed to be as calm as water in a bowl, there's not a ripple of waves, you think you're standing in one place, as he said in the book, standing, he wasn't. And 1 hour later, at midnight, Christmas Eve, the traditional moment of the Christian Savior's birth, on a ship named for the Mother of Christ, the captain of the ship, whose name means Christ-bearer or cross-bearer, wrecks 1 hour later. And why? Because they were driven ashore by this very subtle current that nobody understood. And this is the ballast pile. These stones don't belong in this spot. But our team, our archaeology team confirmed that the slide, that this Lombard, which was 9 feet long, identical to what we now know is on the molasses wreck, beside the ballast pile. Again, those stones were in the bottom, very bottom of the ship. And the ship has all been eaten away since then by marine organisms. What's left are the stones, which will be there for 1 million years. Nothing happens to those. Now this is also in the same ballast pile, very close to the cannon. Notice the spokes. It's a wheel, and it's a large wheel. It would be a wheel about this big. Okay, go forward one. There's a wheel that's on a gun carriage of a cannon. Now this is the same sort of wheel that was used with the Mary Rose in England. There's pictures of the Mary Rose that you can see online. This wheel, a wheel very similar to that, is stored in the bow of the Mary Rose. Okay, go back one. Go back. That's the wheel that we found next to the gun carriage with the small wheel. Now the idea would be a large wheel would be in the front of the gun carriage. A small wheel would be at the back of the gun carriage to give the cannon elevation. We found 3 different size wheels. You know, 2 small wheels about 1.5 feet in diameter, and a large wheel that was used for if Columbus was ashore, he could put the cannon on a gun carriage to take across land, which was one of his objects. Okay, go ahead, forward.